This is Byron Lazine and Nicole White, and you are tuned into episode 176 of The Real Word.
Word is up. 176, eh?
Hey.
I didn't know that we did 175 last week.
Take a trip to Matt Leonetti's neck of the woods, Canada?
Hey? Maybe.
No? You were talking about Matt on the way in.
I did. Well, we were talking about the marketeer.
He's going to be in Dallas, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
When we go in October for the Tom Ferry Summit.
You talked to him about it?
Yeah. Well, I got him in, kind of.
I feel like we have to come up with some reels then with him.
Well, you can do that.
Maybe.
You guys can figure it all out.
Reel it?
Reel it up.
Make it real. The real word.
All right, so we've got a sight unseen topic, why they might not be as risky as you think. We have, what else do we have? Oh, we have this
CNN article.
CNN style article, which is, you can't even, there's so much style on the font, you can barely read it, but we'll get into that. And then we have a marketeer of the week, of course. Let's start with Racket number 1. 5 reasons buying sight unseen isn't as risky as you think. Nicole, Homes.com conducted a survey of 1,500 visitors that discovered 42% of buyers are willing to buy a home sight unseen.
Yep.
Makes sense in this market.
Absolutely.
Here's why that number shouldn't surprise you. And they've got 5 reasons why it shouldn't surprise you, why maybe buying a home sight unseen is okay. All right. So number 1. We'll go through all 5 and give our opinion.
Let's do it.
Tour technology is a reason that you should buy sight unseen. One of the ones that they've identified here. Today, buyers expect to see a virtual tour, if not at least a listing video. Imagining technology can now edit exterior washouts to provide online tours, participants with full views of fenced backyards and curb appeal, but all finalizing the immersive experience. Is this a reason that sight unseen is it good? Is not risky.
Scary. So yeah. I still think that so where I would go a little bit deeper with this tour technology is I think that I've had a lot more success if I'm actually FaceTiming with them and going through, because at that point you can show out, some of the flaws. Right?
If you're there, you're right. You can show. I actually think if you're going to do tours virtually and you're definitely going to buy sight unseen, you have to do that with your trusted advisor like you're talking about, but you also have to have the Matterport to go through. Of course. Because the FaceTime, you can I can go based off of your, hey, she pointed out, that crack in the wall. She pointed out the leaky faucet, but I also don't get a true feel for the space on FaceTime.
You definitely need to be well versed, like you're saying, with a Matterport before your agent even goes out to the property for sure. Yeah. But I do think it's crucial though for the agent to go out there and do a FaceTime tour.
Correct.
Hey, I know, you don't but look at the crown molding, or just again, I think that is much more, I won't say much more important, but certainly is important to be coupled with the Matterport.
From fully orchestrated group open houses, we know that those are a racket, to an agent FaceTiming through a listing. It's easier than ever for buyers to get.
Yes.
But to me, a group open house or just FaceTiming is not enough for a sight unseen offer. I need a Matterport and a FaceTime. And that those two things combined can maybe get me there if I know the area.
I think but I think if you're comparing it to the none of that, which was very much
true, but
just years ago.
But to me, I got to have both. I got to know the area. I've got to have been to the area before as well.
Well, okay. So, and I think it depends on who you're talking about too. Like, are you the seller or are you the buyer?
If I'm the buyer.
Right.
I'm the buyer,
But my concern here still though, is if you're not doing all that and I'm the listing agent, I'm still really worried about that buyer.
Yeah. Me too. Especially if they've got outs like a mortgage condition inspection. All right, number 2, availability and quality of the property data. So, quality of the property data. Industry vendors have made real estate data its own industry. Agents can learn, then share. So basically, the CMA and
research,
thinking
Zillow,
about Redfin,
reports.
Zillow Realtor. Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, your agent should be doing this for you. So the availability of it should be quite easy if you're working with a trusted advisor in that market, right? I don't think you should be, as the buyer, just relying on, they're talking about Redfin,
there's estimates.
These different
they shouldn't
places.
Be relying on those estimates.
No, I don't think so. No. So, I don't know. When it comes to being source of the source, you've never been more resourceful. That comes down to the agents. Okay, that's the agent job.
Right.
I mean, that's the big agent job, education. Right
well,
now,
I think the number one thing on this list should actually be hire a buyer's agent, but
there you go.
Maybe we add another. Maybe that's the 9th.
Number 3, buyers are competitive. So we talked about this Washington, D.C. In an earlier Real Word. Washington, D.C. listing had 88 offers in 4 days. Remember we covered that?
Yep.
15 of which were made without the buyer ever seeing it. Social media threads swell daily with buyer agent angst about losing offers and listing agent panic about. Listen, I see it all over the place. Buyer agents in general, just frustrated with this market. Those of you that weren't in the market in 2012, 2013, 2014 need to stop complaining about this current market.
Right.
You think this market's hard and bad? Things can get a whole heck of a lot worse in a hurry.
Yes.
So I would kind of curb the complaints online a little bit. People like myself remember 2012 quite clearly.
And 13 and 14 and 15 and 16.
Well, for Connecticut, it went on and on and on and on, right? People are like, wait a minute, 15 in my market was great. Yeah, well, we were selling
We're on the
Connecticut.
wrong coast. Yeah.
So buyers are competitive. Yes. Yeah. I don't know how that helps you doing sight unseen though. You know.
Well, I think what it's saying is that you almost have to do sight unseen because the market is so competitive. So it's almost like you have to get a little bit more.
But to your point, if I'm the listing agent, I'm a little worried about that.
I am petrified, especially if I have 88 offers. I guarantee you, one of those other offers, those people have already seen it.
I guess they're doing it to save time. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I think they're doing it though because if they're not in the area. I will say though that this past year was the first time I've ever had a buyer do sight unseen, but they never were going to even see it until after closing. So the seller's agent was much more. And again, they were military, so there was.
Here's where I get worried. It's like, oh, it's sight unseen, but I'll see it for the first time at the inspection.
Oh, yeah.
So now their first impression is hanging out with the inspector.
Oh, yeah.
Going around and they're picking everything apart.
Or catch someone when they haven't eaten breakfast yet. I mean, it's a whole disaster, even without the home inspector, right? I mean, our dad comes.
Hangry buyer. So number 4, every home needs work. So I guess this is like you saying to yourself, well, every home I get is going to need work. I'm going into home ownership. I'm going to have to do work. So what the heck, right?
Yeah.
I might as well not worry about that stuff.
I think that's also why it's important to go back to number 1 and have your agent do that FaceTime. Because I think even with the Matterport and even photos, it can be very misleading for you to not really understand the amount of work in some situations.
And then number 5, they're becoming more common. So I guess, hey, if everybody else is doing it,
why not?
Just jump on the ship there.
Let's
I don't know. I think overall if I were to rank overall these 5, I think this is kind of overall a racket in the sense of, I thought there was better reasons to your point. 5 reasons buying sight unseen isn't as risky as you think.
Well, I think what's happening
because they're more common, it's not risky? Is it still risk? I don't understand that.
I think that's pretty much the purpose of this article, to say that they are more common. And again, I think the reason that they're more common is, again, our supply is way low.
But the result,
people could be like, hey, I'm coming into town in 2 weeks. You can't do that shit anymore.
But the result of this market is a new comfort level, a new normal of submitting offers without physically touring a home. The game just keeps changing. That doesn't take the risk out that everybody else is doing it.
Yeah.
So I didn't love the reasons why. What would be your number 1 reason that takes risk out? I like where we said number 1. If you're going to truly see sight unseen, to your point, the number 1 thing is have a really trusted real estate advisor on your side, an agent that's working with you for you. Number 2 to me is, if you're going to buy sight unseen somewhere, you better have visited the town, the area that you're buying. You should know that area, okay? Because what if you get there, you love the house, but you don't love the town?
Right.
Well, now you're
screwed.
So you should have at least visited the area in the past. And you should have some familiarity with that neighborhood that you're going to be making these sight unseen offers in. And then I would double up I would request, hey, listen, buyer agent, even if the buyer, have to pay for this, because the listing agent hasn't, I need a Matterport and I need a FaceTime
if
of
you
the
even
property.
have time. I mean, I don't know that you're going to have time for a Matterport. I mean, you're certainly doing a FaceTime. I think another thing that would be helpful too is if you have
floor plan at least,
or if you have somebody that already is living in that area that you trust, maybe they should accompany the listing agent too, because they could actually be a really helpful resource too. Again, I still don't think that the risk is gone. Again, as a seller, that still spooks me out. Or if like a wife has come and they're putting in an offer and the husband still hasn't come, that kind of stuff spooks me out too. But anyway, we'll see.
There's less incentive right now for listing agents to do Matterport. Obviously during
there's
COVID,
zero incentive.
Have
you seen some agents have even gone back to like taking photos on their phones?
Because they're just getting lazy.
It's so
that's
ridiculous.
Crazy. That's ridiculous. Agents doing that.
Shame.
Turn
know
your
your
license
name.
in.
Yeah.
All right. Racket number 2. This is CNN Style. I don't know if you've ever been on CNN Style.
I didn't even know that there was a separate style as opposed to CNN.
Well, this is their, you have CNN Business. Then they have CNN Style.
I love it.
I didn't know either, but they have a different font for CNN Style, and it's very difficult to read. Actually, it's actually it's actually a bad style, if you ask me. These architects,
all of their articles are written in that font. Are you sure it's not just this article?
No, this is because the style is in that font.
Oh,
they're trying to be a little too fancy here.
Yeah, you like bougie though.
But I'm reading it. I've got to be able to read it.
Well,
CNN.
you have a hard time reading anyway, so.
These architects believe communal living is the way of the future. Okay. We've actually talked about this a little bit.
We have talked about this quite a bit. Yes.
All right. So let's frame it up
Especially in New Age with go ahead.
Bobby, put some of these photos up of this place. This is I don't know.
Is that a tree?
There's a tree in the property. Mm-hmm. It's very sustainable living.
Rocks. There's no handrails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So the model is not just a lofty idea that the architects are asking people to try untested. No.
Mm-hmm. It's been tested.
It is based on the 40-unit co-housing project in Vindmøllebakken, located in
You mixed a lot of different languages
Stavanger, Norway.
We'll just say in Norway. Let's stick
okay,
to
it's in Norway, which they completed in 2019 and now call their home. They have 5 similar buildings in the works. What We Share presents an updated take on communal living that differs from both the hippie communities of the 60s and the 70s, where members managed a plot of land, pooled their income, and the more recent slew of so-called adult dorms, which crop up in San Francisco, New York, and London. We've commented on those.
Yep.
The adult dorms, which we were not a fan of.
Nope. There was a lot of dirty socks.
But this model is based on the Danish co-housing tradition, in which residents own their private homes. Okay. So they own a private home, maybe an apartment even, but a private home. And they share communal areas that suit their needs. So what we didn't like about the adult dorm living is that you're sharing a living room together. You're sharing a kitchen. In this, even if it's an apartment, let's say, your home, you have your own kitchen, you have your own bathroom, you have your own living room. So now you're coming out and sharing a yard or a pool or a
anything.
A billiard room.
Well, it could be anything. I mean, you could have pool, you could have a theater. I mean, it really could be, I guess, anything that community decides to build on there. There must be some sort of HOA that's supporting this. Look, it looks like everyone's eating together.
This photo shows everybody eating together.
Well, that could have just been like a potluck.
It looks like a potluck.
At
they get all the pots out there.
Yeah. So
39 families.
And again, before the show, we were talking about that, a lot of these places already exist. We're talking about like assisted living facilities, right? So, I mean, people are serving you food in your own room, but you can also go to these communal spaces, play bingo. I mean,
bingo. Why not with the neighbors?
Why not?
And listen, I mean, I guess when I'm thinking about it, my place in Florida, there's a community pool.
You're pretty much living in a.
I'm living in one of these.
You are living in one. You have a pool. I mean, you can probably, can you rent out some sort of like thing, throw a party at? You know what I'm talking about?
You can in the community center.
Yeah. There's a community center. You have a community center. Do you have your own school there too?
No. There's
some of these communities have schools
the pool house. You can basically rent out the pool house, and you could do.
So that's pretty much what they're saying here.
I don't think you have to rent it, but you could reserve it, right?
Yeah.
There's a pool. There's tennis courts. I mean, it's a Florida play.
Yeah, it's an
style.
HOA. Yeah, it's
HOA.
pretty much what they're doing here. So Norway is doing an HOA finally.
Now they say though, because like my home is not connected to I think these 30, 40 homes are all connected. So it almost reminds me of the 62 and over living.
Right.
Where.
But you don't own the land. Building? So you're a PUD. You own your house, but not your land.
In this scenario?
In this situation, yes.
Yeah, that's what I believe.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Now they say this could be an alternate solution to climate and population concerns. So, they're not going to use steel and concrete for some reason. They're going to use locally sourced timber.
Yep.
Good luck with that.
Because that's super cheap now.
Good luck at that.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's what I like, and here's what I don't like. I personally love HOAs. This does seem like what we're looking at here.
A little bit.
A fancier term for. Now they're talking about sharing values. These are smaller though. So an HOA of like.
Yeah, your HOA is large. We're talking about small.
Although my HOA here in Connecticut is very small, very small.
Yeah, but you guys don't really have anything communal.
We don't have anything. No, we have high HOA fees with nothing communal.
Nothing. There's nothing. There's nothing.
There's absolutely nothing.
I think where do you pick up your mail is communal.
That's about as communal as we get. That is true.
Yep.
So I'm a big fan of an HOA because if you get internet in an HOA, if you say you have 400 residents in an HOA.
Do you have to use the internet that the
HOA?
I've never been part of an HOA.
But say you do get internet, your internet costs can come, can come down because everybody's sharing in that cost and you're getting a better deal.
Yep.
If you have trash pickup, your trash pickup can come way down because everybody's sharing.
Well, what they're talking about here too is your carbon footprint. So same thing even there. I mean, it's one stop for a garbage truck instead of multiple stops too potentially. And it sounds like at your house you're getting picked up in front of your house,
right
but
in front.
Yeah, so maybe your footprint isn't as smart. But I do think that there are some positives though, because again, if you are dumping in one spot and it's just coming to pick up that one trash.
Well, now you got a dump in your community. I don't know if you like that, but
not a dump. I'm talking about just like we have here. You just go out to the back and you dump it into a dumpster. Yeah. There's a cover on it. It's got a nice little gate around it.
I would not move to an HOA that has a dumpster. That's just me.
Really? Like scratch it off the list? That's like a deal breaker?
That would be an absolute, for me.
Yes.
For the way I want to live. If there's a dumpster in my HOA, that'd be an absolute deal breaker because I want to have a garbage can in my garage.
Yes.
And I'm going to just go to the garage.
I guess it depends on what kind of HOA you're in though.
Well, because you go to the...
if you're in like a high rise.
You go to the dumpster, now you're getting... You're stopping... somebody's walking a dog.
Oh, you don't like talking to people.
When I'm home, I don't, which is why this would not be good for me. First of all, those adult dorms, that's the biggest racket that'll never, ever, 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 ever catch on unless we become a third world country in America. Okay. And you're forced to now live with people. People don't want to live with other families.
Well,
people don't want to live with their own family.
People don't even want to live with themselves. But I think that what's important here and what they talk about, though, is they talk about loneliness.
Yeah.
So there is a large population of our older aged adults.
They have these, 62 and over, and those are beautiful facilities.
And they love it. You can get your nails done with your girlfriends. Again, you can play a little bingo.
They're very expensive. They're not cheap.
They're very expensive, yes. So again, I'm not necessarily against it. It's definitely not for you. I don't think it's for me either. But
this will never catch on at any scale. People like their own space. In fact, I see a bigger trend right now of people wanting more land, more of their own things on their property just for them and their family. This is the biggest racket of all time. Yeah. This is somebody trying to get a little too fancy, like the font on CNN
Super
style.
Fancy. I will say, though, that I do like seeing, again, I'm hyper local here, like in the New Haven, say, they're taking over factories, turning them into really cool apartment buildings where then you do have a community sort of hangout on the first floor or a gym that you can all visit. I mean, that I'm behind.
I'm there.
In my mind, that's sort of the communal living that I think as far as we could all go. But
look at these pictures. They're just trying to be so forward, so progressive.
Well, and they're being very minimalistic. I mean, there is nothing. Can you imagine that? Like you spilled chocolate milk in there? It's all over.
This is all glitter. I mean, just look at the photos.
We are in Norway though. Maybe they're just happier people. I don't know.
This is way too.
They're smoking a lot of pot too, I bet, in those areas.
You know, I'm thinking so much brighter.
Well,
than
again,
you.
remember in this article they are talking about sharing values too. So
yeah, they've got they've got some value sharing issues. Okay,
deep. So
marketeer of the week: how to win a bidding war. How to win a bidding war before it starts. Okay. Let's go to the question here. This is New York Times. Mm-hmm. My wife and I are trying to buy a house in Fairfield County, Connecticut.
How odd.
That. And we keep losing bidding wars. We offer the asking price.
We offer over.
We go over. But we can't pay in cash. So these guys are using a mortgage. How much do we need to offer to get a house? Is there a magic number?
A magic number.
Or is this just a pipe dream and we'll never find one? This is the frustration buyers have.
Do they have an agent? Like, is there a magic number?
So Rhonda, who wrote this into New York Times, she thinks that the Times has got the answer for. Anyways, well, the Times did a great job because they actually went out and they referenced a couple of different, they referenced Douglas Elliman report, and they also spoke to Jennifer Thomas, a licensed saleswoman at the Metalios Group in Greenwich, Connecticut.
We kind of sort of know them a little.
Yeah, shout out to Joy Metalios.
We love Joy.
And her
and
team
Jennifer,
partner here,
yes.
Jennifer. So Jennifer said that in her market, the winning bid is typically 10 to 15% over the asking price, but not always. I've had winning bids and weren't the highest offer. Nicole, you've spoken on this. Maybe just to the team, or have we spoken about that in the
Well, so the only reason that we did talk about it to the team is because we did actually go over some of the things that we can do in multiple offers, because it was an article about, you know, offering out the seller, you know, paying the seller closing costs. So that is obviously a condition. And
that's what Jennifer says here. It's not about your price, it's about your terms and conditions. Yeah. Okay, great. Another strategy, try to find homes before they hit the market. So be talking to your agent, your broker, about making inquiries on your behalf, putting out feelers, whatever you can. Like, hey, can we be calling on? We do circle prospecting here a lot in the office. Can we be calling on this particular neighborhood? Just maybe find the needle in the haystack. Find that one seller thinking about selling. Match me up with them. Right. A little bit of sweat equity, maybe mailers, whatever we can do to get the word out that I'm looking. Then it says here another strategy that the Times offers up is post your request to a local neighborhood group to see, Facebook group, for example, see whether a seller will talk to you before the house is listed. A friend of mine just did this, ending up with a house that never even hit the market. Eventually, with enough grit and patience, you will find someone willing to sell you their house. Okay. Here's why this is the marketeer of the week, New York Times. I think that's really valuable advice talking about the Facebook groups. There are a lot of deals being connected across the country right now in the community Facebook groups. And by the way, it's just because they're being more aggressive than their agents. And they're just, hey, sorry, agent, this particular seller now, I met them through Facebook ABC, right? Which you're not on. You don't have a presence on. Right. And we just matched up and I'm buying their house. It's a great deal for me, okay? If you're an agent and you're trying to be hyper local, taking over an area, getting listings, especially, how do I get more listings? Well, you become the local resource. You don't go in there and post, take a picture of your business card and put it into the Facebook group. It's a way to get kicked off. Right. You become a part of the conversation. You should be replying to 20 posts every single day. You should be making posts. Hey, has anybody checked out the bagels at the new bagel shop? Whatever, right?
Oh, there is a new bagel shop here in town.
I know. Has it opened yet?
It is.
Oh, good.
We went there yesterday.
I went to Cohen's yesterday.
You did?
Yeah. Deeks. Sorry about that. That's a little local stuff for you. A little local bagel rivalry.
A little rivalry.
Up here. Anyways, you should be the local leader. So that way, when someone makes that post, hey, I'm thinking about or I'm looking for, all of a sudden in the comments, they're tagging you because you're like the mayor of that town. Like, hey, maybe you should talk to Nicole. Ask Nicole. She may know somebody. Nicole may know, right? And that's where you become connected as an agent.
And I think that it is smart that you comment on that because it can go both ways. I mean, obviously you can be out there as an advocate for your buyer, but you could certainly very much be in the thick of it when someone's like, hey, I'm thinking about selling my house in 4 weeks. Does anybody know a really good stager? Now you have a flippin' person that wants to sell.
And how about this?
Stay connected.
Like, do you want to find out from your buyer that they bought a house from somebody in the community 2 weeks after the post was made? Or do you want to see that post in the first 2 minutes and contact the buyer and make a comment on their post like, hey, yeah, we are a team. We're really looking for X, Y, and Z. Anybody have anything coming on? Now you're the one that's going to talk to that seller.
Yeah.
And then you're, texting that buyer and saying, hey, listen, great idea with the post. Like encourage them. If somebody pops up, I'm happy to take the conversation from here. And also I made 300 circle dials for the neighborhood that you've identified over the last 2 days. Like, this is what we're doing.
It's really a great touch point no matter what. The amount of people that are like, anyone know a good garbage company? I mean, like you're saying, like if you're posting, you really can be like the professional in that town for sure.
And these are probably, if you haven't noticed right now, if you're marketing on Facebook for your business pages has completely plummeted. The Facebook algorithm is really hard for anybody trying to produce content from a business perspective on Facebook. It's almost non-existent unless you're paying a ton of money. I mean, it's the organic push on Facebook is down to zero, except from your personal Facebook page. They're still organic there. And these Facebook groups, these local groups are really active. They're probably
people love
the most valuable tool you have on Facebook today, more valuable than the ads. So I'd be in those if I'm looking to be hyper local and take over listings in a particular area.
And though what's really fun though is if there isn't one for your community, like if there's a specific community that you want, maybe start one. Now you're the admin. I mean, hello. Now you're just collecting everyone's sort of back end data. But yeah, I mean, there's really no reason for you not to be getting involved and engaged because there are questions being asked on those sites every minute.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're very active. All right, that's it. That's what we got. Appreciate everybody that listened. If you are on Apple, love a review from you. If you're on YouTube, love for you to hit the subscribe button. And we'll see you next week on The Real Word.
See you guys.
Keep it real.